Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of One Pod Life. This week I'm talking to the first Fijian Ladies Professional Golfer, Zenia Wivou. She's based in Dubai. Having recovered from an horrendous knee injury, Zenia is now positioned to play on the Australian PGA. We talk about her career to date, how she's lived in multiple places, started golf with her dad, gave up a career in law to follow her dreams. So please welcome Zenia Wivou. The fact that you're born in Australia, but you're Fijian, and you grew up in the UAE. Explain that one to me.
My dad is actually Fijian Indian, so I got a bit of a mix there. Yeah.
Okay, throw another one in.
And my mom's full Fijian.
Okay.
So I was actually just born in Sydney.
Right.
Got the passport, woohoo, and was flown down to UAE. My dad was based here. He used to work as an engineer and taught the guys who were going for like petrol, gas, oil and gas sort of thing.
Okay.
He was based at the college. So I actually grew up north of UAE, which is like in Ras Al Khaimah, actually, the complete opposite side of Dubai.
Right.
No tourists, we still drive on the wrong side of the road, and it's very traditional, very conservative, I would say as well, especially back then. And so I was raised there, started school there, finished there, started golf there. They had 2 golf courses, which is actually still the same 2 golf courses. But at the time, it was actually pretty good because Ras Al Khaimah had quite a few expats back then.
Right.
Especially with the British school and then the colleges that came up. So I got to, socialize and mix around with, different nationalities, especially on the golf course. So I grew up in this links golf course called Tower Links. And, it's a course that when I go back to even till today it does make me a bit emotional because that's where it all started.
Okay.
And I think the best part of that course is the fact that you have to be accurate. It'll always test your accuracy because it's so narrow. It's a very strategic course.
Okay.
So yeah.
It's a good place to actually start learning how to play golf and hit the ball straight, I guess.
Yeah, and then you just kind of place it. I'm only just learning this now, but I'm more of a target golfer.
Okay.
So it took me quite a long time to figure out what type of golfer I am. Mm-hmm. And it's only been in the past couple of months since I've started really taking up my golf career seriously, that I've started to figure out bits and pieces of my game. So like, just for example, the other day I was playing with somebody and he asked me, can you play a fade shot or a draw shot? And I said, yeah, I can, but there's no need for me to do that because I can pick a point and place the ball there.
Right. Okay.
Sort of thing.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. That's a good attribute to have, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, it's always good to have it in the bag as well to just play a fade when needed or a draw. But I've always been able to play a targeted shot regardless of the environment, whether there's wind or no wind. Yep. I know how to get my ball from point A to point B, whether the wind is right to left, left to right, sort of thing.
Nice. I just see a fairway and hope that I get it on the fairway, if I'm honest.
Well, you see, that's how I started. I used to just hope for the best sort of thing.
Yep. No, good stuff. But I read that your dad played golf and he's the one that got you into it. So what level did he get to and what involvement did he have in you developing throughout the years?
Oh, well, my dad was a brilliant golfer, and he still is, actually. He got down to, I think it was a 1.5 handicap.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and what, funny story, actually, my dad he cannot see. Like, he's not blind, but he just cannot see at distance at all. Like, okay. Probably the clearest you could see is to his hand palm just up in front of him, and then that's it. So Every single time he would swing his club back and then come down to make contact with the ball, just before he makes contact, he's already shouting out "lost" because he can't see it. Yep. But then there's no reason to actually look because it's always down the fairway. But my dad had this brilliant gift in golf where he was just accurate. I've never seen a golfer as accurate as my dad, including, I mean, even with pros, it's a bit different. I think it's drilled into them and then they constantly practice it. Whereas my dad was very natural.
Okay.
My dad has always been a natural athlete, but I've always seen him. I do believe that golf is very, very much psychological, and it just showed that part of my dad on the course.
Yeah. Well, the fact that you couldn't see more than sort of 2-3 yards in front of him. I mean, that has to be all down to mental strength. To be able to hit the golf ball and know exactly where it's going to go.
And my dad wasn't the biggest hitters at all, which is actually quite opposite for me. My advantage is the distance. Mm-hmm. Whereas my dad, his drive would probably be about 210 at most.
Okay.
Or just under that. But he would always be accurate where he's a target golfer as well. He knows where to place the ball. Mm-hmm. And he's always been good at kind of mentally defeating the opponent without even talking, just by showing the game sort of thing. He's just always been a real idol for me. So when he started playing golf, and I don't know how I just ended up, watching him, getting interested, because I've always been a natural athlete as well. Mm-hmm. And one day when they actually opened up Alhambra Golf Club, this was probably about 15 years ago, maybe, or just under. I was 9, and they had an open day for kids. Come and, have your kids swing a club for free. So I rocked up with a few friends, and they were both athletes as well, but they were more footballers, and I was a tennis player as well. Well, at the time, so it was a lot easier for me to kind of have that hand coordination to swing. And so I picked up a junior 5-wood, and I just started whacking it down. And my 5-wood at the time would go about 150 at 9. Yeah. And then the GM of the club, Chris White, Chris White, I believe his name was. He came over, and he was he said to me, "Oh, are your parents here?" And I was like, "Oh, no." And I assumed I had gotten in trouble. And
yeah, of course.
Yeah. And I said, "No." He's like, "Oh, well, you know what? Just leave your dad's number here. I'd like to talk to him about your golf." And I'm like, "Oh, did I do something wrong?" And he's like, "No, not at all. Just keep doing what you have to do." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." Yep. So then a few days later, my dad comes to me and he just asks me, do you like the game? And I said, yeah, it's just another sport. We just hit the ball. Like, what? It's not that hard, sort of thing. Being 9 years old and being so flexible to kind of do a lot of things, and the energy as well. Hey. Mm-hmm. So I picked up the game from there, and then I started playing with my dad, and then we ended up doing a lot of partner tournaments together. Okay. Scrambles and all those social stuff, and it was really good. But at the time,
Did you manage to win any tournaments?
Yes, quite a bit, to be honest. With my distance teeing off the reds and with my dad's accuracy, we kind of blended really well. I
was going to say, you're quite a match then, aren't you, for anybody, really?
Yeah, and I think that was the best part of it is being able to share that sort of moment with your father, especially during a sport where you both can do it at the same time. Yep. It was a really good way to build me up towards the game. So yeah, it was great, especially being the only junior at the time, mm-hmm. playing in tournaments.
No, great stuff. So I also read that you actually left law school to take up a career in golf. So at what point did you realise that I actually want to become a professional golfer? Obviously, you actually became the first Fijian female professional golfer as well. Yeah. So, yeah, what led you to do that?
Oh, that's a really good one. I like these questions. I've never been asked these questions before, but it's really good. To be honest, I think being a child and then having so much exposure to an adult game at the time, it was quite overwhelming for me. Okay. And then as I got older, it was it started to turn into a very strict regime where pretty much a social life as a teen was frowned upon, I would say, because, I'd have to wake up early and then go and train, go and practice, go and play, drive to Dubai with my parents, drive to Abu Dhabi, play different tournaments. So, and then, watching my friends kind of, go to the mall or have movie nights or things, I wasn't really allowed to socialize in that sort of way because, obviously you have to keep a very tight regime. But then I think, being the rebel that I was, I kind of pulled away from golf quite a bit. And it's just the immaturity, to be honest, because you don't really realize the opportunity you have until obviously you get older. And I took a step back from golf, which obviously upsetted my dad quite a bit. And he just kind of said, you know what, you're going to step away from golf, you're going to go to uni. And I'm like, okay. And, being half Indian, that Indian side of him kind of came out and said, okay, which part do you want to be? Like? A lawyer, a doctor, an engineer sort of thing. Yep. And you know what, I've never been interested in engineering or being a doctor, but I did like the idea and the sound of being a lawyer. Okay. And I went to university in Australia in a place called Toowoomba. Yep. And it's actually probably about an hour and a half away from Brisbane. And, never living in Australia, so not knowing the culture or, how they work at all. I asked my dad's friend, who was actually our neighbor at the time. And he's like, oh, Toowoomba, it's like the biggest inland city in the world. And I'm like, oh my goodness, yes, city life, great. Literally got there, drove up this mountain for about half an hour. Yep. And then got to the top of the mountain, and it was just, there was not even one building. So it was proper like inland town sort of thing. But it was a really great experience. So I got there, I took up corporate law, and I loved it. Don't get me wrong. I loved studying it. I thought it was really interesting. But for some reason, I just wasn't passionate enough to continue doing it. I couldn't see myself sitting behind a desk and just working on paper. I'm more of a practical person. I like using my hands sort of thing. Okay. Which actually, to be honest, I probably should have taken up engineering, if anything.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
But I loved it. So I was there and I did my 3 years and stuff. I was going into my 4th year, and I flew back for Christmas and New Year's, and I sat down with my dad, and, I just said to him, I'm not happy. Mm-hmm. And luckily enough, I have a really great dad, and he just said to me, you know what, you need to be able to wake up in the morning feeling happy to go to your job. Like, you want to be there.
Oh, 100%.
You have that energy to actually do the work. So, I'm going to give you an opportunity. Do you want to go back or not? Yep. And I just said to him, I don't want to go back. And then he said, well, what do you want to do? So I said, I don't know. And I was only in UAE for about two months at most. Okay. And so a week later, he was going out for a round of golf. And I just said, look, can I come with you? And then he was just like, okay, you know what, let's go for a round. Literally went out, and I hadn't played golf for about 4 years straight. Right. And I think I was about 20, 21 at the time. And went out, played golf, came back, and I just said to my dad, yep, this is what I want to do. I just want to get back into golf. And so my dad said, well, if you're going to do that, I'm going to invest in you. You're going to have to perform. You're going to have to show me that you want this, and then I'll be happy. Okay. So then for a year straight, I knuckled down. I started off with a 6 handicap, which when I left, it was actually 2.5. And okay. When I came back, I played a few rounds and it went up to 6. And then I just, for a year straight, every single day, I would spend at least 10 hours on the range, at least. Right. Yeah, from morning till sundown, sometimes even longer. And that was 7 days straight. I never missed a day. And it was actually a really good way to get away as well, because, I think there's a few things when you're that old, being 20, 21, and you're coming back and, it's I think especially in society as well, a lot of people kind of have this mentality of, oh, she must have dropped out because she did something wrong, or, so it's, especially being in a small town, you do get a few things that kind of mentally push you down quite a bit.
Yep.
So it's always a great way to actually get away from all of that negativity, was just being on the range.
Just you and your thoughts and grinding away, I guess.
Yeah, grinding away. And you know what? I knew that I had the energy and the power to actually make it. I knew it. I just needed to put the time and the effort into it. And even though I had a lot of comments, saying, what's the point? Like, you're already old. Like, you're 21. People are turning pro at 18. You're never going to make it. I literally, for a year straight, I've heard so many things just to push me down. But I never gave up. And I think, it's that hunger and that grind that really kind of threw it back in their face when, I posted up on Facebook, thanks for all the support, guys. I, finally got my tour card.
Yeah.
And then it's amazing how the same people ended up turning around and saying, oh, hey, you know what, if there's anything you need, just let me know. I'm a call away.
Yeah, of course they are. Now that you've made it. And the thing is, a lot of negative comments like that come from people who are jealous that you're trying to do something that they possibly can't do or want to do. And like I say, you just need to ignore it and just push on yourself and believe in what you can do it. So you put the hours in.
At the end of the day, you know your ability as a person. You can have as many coaches, you can have as many mentors as you can, but at the end of the day, it's you and your ability. You know yourself better than anybody else.
No, definitely.
And I've always believed in the saying of kill them with kindness. So I think a smile hurts more than evil eyes.
Yeah. And obviously, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that obviously all came to a head in June last year, where you actually turned professional. Is that correct?
No, 2018.
Oh, 2018. Sorry, I've got that wrong there. My apologies.
No, that's all right. Yeah, no, I turned pro in 2018, and so my dad retired. We moved back to Australia I moved back to Australia with my parents for a couple of months.
Okay.
Just to help them set up, because they've been in UAE for 24 years. So my dad retired, he moved back, and I moved back with them. And I was just, I had applied, I've sent in my paperwork and, my evidence of playing tournaments and reference letters to the Australian PGA. Mm-hmm. And, I didn't hear back for months. So I thought, okay, you know what, time to throw in a towel. I might as well go back to uni or just find a part-time job sort of thing and just keep grinding away.
Yep.
And got back 3 months later, because we still have mailboxes at home in Australia. I walked to the mailbox and I got this letter, and it literally said, you know what, congratulations, your paperwork has been approved. We've received everything, and, we're happy for you to be a member of the Australian PGA and, as a player.
Great stuff.
So I was like, this is amazing news. And then literally the next day I had a call from Trump International Golf Club, offering me the job to, be their membership executive. Okay. And at the time, the management was different. And there's this director called Craig Waddle, and he was an amazing guy. And he actually helped me really pursue my dreams and just being a really great person, okay, with a good heart sort of thing, so, never, don't give up, keep trying sort of thing, with his words. So I took up the job and went to work there. Management changed, and I couldn't really fulfill my dream of actually making money and going on tour to play. So right. Things got a little bit hard. I ended up just doing a lot more admin work than playing.
Okay.
And it just became miserable. So 2 years later, I busted my knee actually in January.
Well, yeah, I was just about to get onto that, because you actually, what was it? You needed ACL reconstruction, a meniscus repair, and bone grafting. I mean, that sounds pretty horrific to me. Yeah. I actually tore my ACL and my crucial when I was about 24. Oh. So I know, and that wasn't that bad compared to what you just had done.
I actually damaged my knee years ago, but when I went to the hospital, they didn't really catch on to it really quick or well enough. So over the years, it just got worse and worse. And I could actually feel it on the course where I would wobble a little bit. It's my left knee and something felt uncomfortable. So I changed my swing to accommodate the pain. Yeah. And so in January, I was actually sitting down and I stood up and I just heard this grind in my knee. And my whole leg, my left leg, just went really hot all of a sudden. And the rest of my body just went super cold.
Right.
Went to the hospital. And the guy just said, oh, you pulled a muscle. And I was like, no, this is not a pull the muscle situation. Like something's actually wrong. So lucky enough, I actually met my current sponsors, the owners of Health and Happiness Chiropractic and Physiotherapy, and they were members at Trump International Golf Club. And, they turned into really good friends at the time. So I gave him a call and I just said, look, I've hurt my knee and I need some help. So this was New Year's Eve. Everything's closed for 2 days straight. Luckily, this one clinic was open. So I went in, got an MRI done, and then you know what? It just turned into a mess.
Yep.
And had to wait for a month to get surgery done.
Wow.
So it wasn't the best way to start off 2020.
No.
And then a week after surgery, I just unfortunately, because Trump were doing an internal restructure, they had to let me go. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, it wasn't a bad feeling. I actually felt relieved that I wasn't working there.
Okay.
And that I got to go home and just recover and relax. And I actually didn't know what to do, right? So I didn't know what to do right after they let me go. And I knew for a while that I wanted to play golf. Like I had that hunger inside me. I just want to play golf. That's all I want to do. But how am I going to do it?
Yep.
And for almost 2 years, actually, the owners of Health and Happiness, Chiropractic Physiotherapy, they were basically saying, you got a tour card, just go and play, what's going on, really supportive, really trying to push me. And, I've always kind of been scared to take that step because I had a lot of work to do behind the desk. And, it was very confusing at the time. And I had the opportunity, I had nothing holding me back. So I gave him a call and I just said, look, I want to do it. And then right away, he was like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
So they've literally been taking care of me, healing and recovering with my physiotherapy and my chiropractic care as well. And I've never looked back and neither have they. So it's been pretty good so far.
Oh, great stuff. And are you all recovered now, or you still got to do quite a bit of physiotherapy on it?
I still have to do quite a bit, actually, because I do find that if I overwork myself, my knee does stiffen up. Mm-hmm. And it gets really uncomfortable. So they help me with the extension of it and just the mobility of things as well. So I keep it regular. I do go religiously, so I go twice a week.
Right.
And then I've always kept it as a fixed appointment so that everything else works around that, because recovery is quite important.
Now, One Pod Life is brought to you in partnership with Energy Golf, the leading golf development platform. They are committed to providing a service that allows you to reach your maximum potential by improving your mindset, creating physical longevity, and funding your golf career. What they've done is take professional tour team experience and brought it to you through their platform so you can have your very own tour team in your pocket. Energy Golf offers the ability to learn from leading professionals in the fields of fitness, nutrition, breathing, caddying, psychology, business, as well as proven tour winners and many more. There are also courses based around the mental aspects of golf, such as mental toughness, emotional control, and self-esteem. Visit energy.com to learn more, and to claim your exclusive 1 month free trial, simply send an email with the subject OnePodLife to info@energy.com and enjoy. Now let's get back to the podcast. Your 2020 didn't start great. Like you said, you had the knee injury, you got the reconstruction done. You went through 5 months worth of constant recovery, and obviously now you're back playing again. But your 2020 kind of finished on a high back in November when you got you won. Your friend entered you into competition and you won it, which meant that you got to go to meet the Jazzy golfer at the Amiga Time to Shine experience.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, I watched the video back earlier. You look pretty surprised. How did you feel about the day, and what did it consist of?
To be honest, like it was, I was actually really surprised because I didn't know what was happening. I literally just got a message saying, you know what, can you turn up at this place at Emirates Golf Club? So, I got there. They didn't tell me exactly what was going on, to be honest. I had no plans. I just knew that, okay, today something's going to happen. And it was great. I got to meet Laura Davids and I got to hit a few balls with Celine Boutier.
Yep.
And just watch other pros as well in the range. And I think it was really inspiring as well, because for a while it kind of went, I got that high where I got sponsored and I was getting rehabilitation, and then it just kind of goes not downhill, but just steady. So no sparks, nothing was happening. So I wasn't really sure what was going on until the Omega Classic, this Moonlight Challenge sort of thing happened. And, got to speak to a few pros and hit a few balls and spend time with, people who were really ambitious about golf as well. And it was such an amazing day, to be honest. It was definitely worth the experience. It was good, especially to kind of relight that spark. Mm-hmm. It was worth it.
No, great stuff. Even better that you actually managed to get a full set of clubs, didn't you?
3 wedges actually from Titleist. Nice. Yeah, but I've never actually played with Titleist clubs before, and you know what? They are actually really, really nice.
What do you play with now then?
I play with Titleists.
Okay.
No, sorry, TaylorMades. Oh gosh, TaylorMades. Right, yeah. But I used to only play with pings. I've never actually tried any other clubs, and only graphite shafts.
Yep.
And then I managed to buy new clubs last year and went for a fitting and stuff. And they just said, you know what, these clubs are for you. So, me being oblivious and naive, I was just like, oh, okay, great. So I took them. And you know what, it took me a really long time. Till now, I'm still trying to get used to it. It's steel shafts, and they're men's clubs as well. I've never actually played with women's clubs. And it feels like I'm hitting a rock. Whereas with the ping, even though they're men's sets as well, the pings with the graphite shaft, it felt smooth hitting the ball.
Okay. No, good.
Yeah, but it's to be honest, I'm happy. Like if I can strike the ball well, I'm happy.
No, great stuff. Well, it sounds like you're building a pretty good team around you as well to sort of move forward this year. Again, I saw a couple of posts. You've got your coach, who's Ross MacArthur.
That's right. Yes, he's based at Trump International Golf Club.
Correct. You've got a personal trainer. Obviously, got the guys over at the health and fitness people that are sorting out your leg. And I believe you're also working, obviously, with performance coach in Steve Thomas. So
that's correct.
How does it feel to have a nice little team behind you now that you can actually sort of lean on to move your career forward?
Oh, honestly, it's essential. I must say. It's one thing knowing that you have the ability and then going on by yourself, but I think it's such an important piece to my career personally, because I think anytime that I have some sort of negative feeling or mindset, I can always lean back on them, and they put me back into this positive lane, I'd say.
Yep.
And that's extremely important when it comes to the game. Ross MacArthur, my golf coach, I've known him for over 10 years.
Yep.
And he was actually there when I first picked up a club.
Oh,
so really? Yeah. So he was at Alhambra originally, and to be honest, to have somebody who knows my game from the start is actually a miracle, I'd say. Because it's just easy for me to kind of connect with him and listen to him when he says, do this or do that.
Yep.
And if I have someone that close, especially when it's Ross and he knows when there's something wrong, he can instantly just put me in the zone of, okay, I'm back in a positive place. I can strike a ball and be fine and not overthink things. So I think when you have a team, especially a team that you can connect well with mentally and emotionally as well, I think it's very essential. It's really important, and it's great.
No, great stuff.
It's great to have not only a team to support your performance, but to support you emotionally and mentally is also it's great.
No, perfect. Okay, so looking forward then, you've got your Australian Golf Tour card. I've noticed that they've got 2 tournaments, one at the end of January and one in beginning of March. Are you going to head over to Australia and play in those, or what is your schedule for the next sort of couple of months?
I was planning to go at the end of January until I got an email saying that they're not really accepting people who are flying in internationally because the state is on full lockdown.
Oh, that's annoying.
Yeah, which is a bit unfortunate, but you know what? It's better to be safe than sorry.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And I think for me, that's turned into my favor because that does give me more time to, recover and actually work on my game as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's one in March, that's correct, in Sydney.
Yep.
And I think it's quite expensive as well because you have to pay for your quarantine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you don't really get to pick the hotel that you stay at, and it's 2 weeks of isolation. So, to be honest, I'm at this point. I think what I might just do is, just continue practicing and playing, mm-hmm. and try and score an invite to at least one event that might happen around this region or in Europe or something.
Yep, that's a shame.
Yeah, actually, I've also tried to. I'm going to see if they still have that qualifying tournament for the Korean tour in August. Okay. Yeah.
No, good stuff. It's a shame that you can't get out there to do that properly, but yeah, like I said, it's got better to be safe than sorry. But hopefully at some point you can get back into a proper golf tournament. Yeah,
exactly. And the thing is as well is flying from here, even if you book a ticket, you're not 100% guaranteed that day of flight. So, if I booked a ticket for, 3 weeks from now, they might just say, oh, look, we've boosted your ticket up to a month from today because, we can Australia can only take in a quota of people.
Right. Okay. I did not know that. That's interesting.
Yeah. I only just found that out myself, to be honest.
Great stuff. Okay. So with your experience that you've had so far, your journey, where you're looking to get to, one of the things that I like to ask every pro that I speak to is if you could give some tips to aspiring golfers that are trying to become professional golfers. Like I said to you earlier, I'm hoping at some point I could turn pro, play off roughly 8 or 9. So what if you can give me 3 tips on what I need to be doing, working on, talking to, or reading, what would those 3 tips be?
I would say one is you have a coach, and you have a coach for a reason. That's the only person that you should be listening to, because everybody at the end of the day has an opinion on your swing or where you've gone wrong or something. And I think everybody else except your coach is irrelevant when it comes to their opinion on your game.
Okay.
Second tip is trust yourself and trust your game. I think when you're confident in your shot and you're committed to it, that's when you strike it at best. And I think the third thing would, what would my third? No, don't give up.
Okay.
Honestly, and always remember that everybody has a different swing.
Yep.
Everybody has their own way of swinging a ball, and if it works for you, it works for you. Obviously, there's always a few basic things that you can follow, but at the end of the day, if it works for you, it works for you. No. I've seen some amazing swings, and they shoot better than a lot of people that I've played with in the past. So
yeah. No, definitely. I think there's 3 great tips there for anybody. Fantastic. Well, thank you for your time. And obviously right now it's 4:00 where you are in Dubai, 12:00 for me. Well, 12:30 now. So thank you for taking the time out to speak to me about yourself and your journey. And hopefully going forward, we'll be seeing you smashing through the leaderboards.
Yeah, hopefully. And thank you for your time as well. It was such a pleasure.
So a massive thank you there to Zenia for coming on and giving us an insight into her story and her experiences of golf so far. And from what I've seen, she's got a great career coming up on the Australian PGA, and so I wish her all the best of luck. And I hope you guys are all okay. Please do share this podcast with anyone you think might find it of interest, and yeah, check out the previous episodes that I have on the back catalogue. Now don't forget that you can follow me on Instagram at OnePuttLife. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss out on any episodes coming up. Thank you guys, and speak to you again soon.